Exploring history for sleep. How Vikings survived the cold winters in Scandinavia and more. In a far-off time, beneath an endless sky streaked with gray clouds, the chill of the Scandinavian winter seeped into the bones of those huddled in their wooden homes. The scent of smoke lingered in the air, mingling with the dampness that clung to the straw-covered floor. You awakened slowly, aware of the itch of fleas dancing on your skin, a reminder that comfort was a fleeting dream in this harsh reality. As you peeled your eyes open, the dim light revealed the contours of your dwelling, a far cry from the grand halls imagined in tales. Willingly trapped in your cocoon of wool, your fingers brushed against the rough texture of the blanket, which smelled faintly of damp earth and soot. In the distance, you could hear the cawing of crows and the low murmurs of your neighbors, their voices blending into the morning drone. Silence. A quick shiver rolled through you as you swung your legs over the side of the bed. Bracing for the icy touch of the floor, you trudged forward, knowing full well what awaited. The first task of the day was to sweep the dirt floor, a delightful chore of moving dusty grains from one spot to another, as if conquering an unwinnable battle against nature itself. Ah, joy! A little flick of your wrist, and the dirt swelled, then settled, only to return again. Thoughts of bristles scratching the ground. With a sigh, you thought, how thrilling! Nothing like a good old-fashioned sweep to wake up the senses. And next, stirring the pottage simmering over the fire, you grabbed a wooden spoon, feeling the warmth radiating from the bubbling mixture. Round and round you stirred, acknowledging the familiarity of the task. Stir, pause, repeat. Each movement felt heavier than the last. Somehow, the potage never achieved the title of gourmet dish. Is this oatmeal or just sad water? You mused internally. Silent chuckle. The faintest whiff of boiled roots made your stomach gurgle, though whether from hunger or distaste, you couldn't tell. The only sign of something more appetizing might have been the leftover fish from last night, now nearly forgotten and waiting to make itself known in the warmth of your home. Or possibly a different kind of warmth, should it choose to betray you. Soft crackle, the creaks of the wooden beams echoed around you, a disjointed symphony of your morning routine. A scrape here, a thud there. Life rolled on in a symphony of mundane sounds, all polished to a shine by the countless moments you spent in repetition. You shifted your gaze towards the window, catching a glimpse of the snow-covered landscape outside, wondering what lay beneath it. Perhaps a hint of bounty, a forgotten treasure waiting to be discovered come spring. Sound of snow crunching. As the day wore on, your eyelids began to grow heavy. Thick blankets called sweetly to you, just after one last chore to finish, one you dreaded but knew awaited just around the corner. Hey, before Morpheus fully embraces you, quickly check if you're still subscribed. For some, the button vanished, and I don't want you to miss the next bedtime stories. Take a moment to leave a like, as soft as a pillow. Tell me in the comments, where are you listening from, and what time is it? Your interaction keeps this calm corner alive. Thanks for being part of it. Winter's secret, as you tugged at the blanket. Ah, nagging thought, moored in your mind. The rest of the chores awaited. Hollow jars lining the walls, damp with moisture. You pulled yourself from the worn wool and walked groggily towards the hearth, where the embers flickered feebly. Dread nibbled at the edges of your mind, gnawing on the monotony like a persistent rat. Just as you readied your fingers to poke the embers back to life, a soft, echoing chime rang through the village. Not the usual toll of the church bell. This one cut through the winter air, oddly melodic, yet disquieting, sending a jolt down your spine. You froze, the wooden spoon falling from your hand and clattering against the floor. The whispers surged from outside, spicy tension weaving through your thoughts. The villagers stirred. Confusion mixed with a hint of curiosity flitted across their faces. You crept to the window, peering out toward the gathering crowd. Through the warped glass, you spotted Old Man Inge, his beard as white as the snow that covered the earth. He stood before the villagers, his lips moving in fervent tones, a wild glint flashing in his eyes. What was he saying? The crowd leaned in, faces taut with anticipation. Then, a hush fell, a lie of silence. The sound of crackling wood and distant crows faded into an eerie quiet. Your heart drummed a frantic rhythm against your ribcage, pushing you to inch closer to the door. As you stepped outside, the cold air slapped your face, awakening every nerve. Inge's booming voice broke the silence. They come for what is ours. Winter is but a shadow for who waits below. Gasps rippling through the villagers mirrored the tightening sense of dread curling in your stomach. What could possibly lurk below? The ground beneath your feet felt almost too still, as if it held its breath in response. Suddenly the ground quaked. One solitary villager stumbled, falling to his knees, staring wide-eyed at a fissure that burst open behind Inge. A plume of steam shot forth, perfectly contrasting against the snow, sending a pungent scent wafting through the air. A smell reminiscent of burnt wood and something else. Your stomach twisted as villagers muttered, fingers pointing in terror and disbelief. Old Man Inge's voice rose to a fever pitch. The Frostwraiths awaken. The dark ones of legend, they tell our fates. Fear gnawed at the villagers, tangible enough to taste. You struggled to breathe, a weight settling on your chest. Those were just stories told to frighten children, right? Frantically scanning the crowd, you noticed a shift. People backed away slowly from Inge, fear bubbling into distrust. Something had cracked in their belief, a line drawn in the snow. Spurred by instinct, you stepped back, thoughts racing. Could the Frostwraiths be real? Would they rise again? The weight of this revelation gripping you tighter. You sensed that whatever awaited beyond that fissure was not simply an ancient legend. The ground rumbled once more, louder this time, as shadows slithered along the edges of the crack. Hey, before Morpheus fully claims you, quickly check if you're still subscribed. For some, the button vanished and I don't want you to miss the next bedtime stories. Drop a like as soft as a pillow. Tell me in the comments, where are you listening from and what time is it? Your interaction keeps this corner of calm alive. Thanks for being part of it. The awakening of the Frostwraiths. The ground quaked beneath you, a low growl echoing through the village. Shadows twitched at the edges of the fissure, a dark counterpart to the shimmering snow. The clamor of shocked whispers rose, a cacophony of fear tangled with disbelief. You could taste the anxiety in the air. It was thick, like the dampness that seeped through the cracked walls of your home. Old Man Inge's wild gaze pierced through the crowd. What had he stirred with his reckless words? "Frostwraiths!" he shouted again, a trembling hand pointing towards the gaping mouth of the earth. "They come for us!" You stepped back, joining the wave of villagers who instinctively shifted away. Your heart hammered in your chest, each beat drumming louder than Inge's proclamations. The ground erupted with a fury that took your breath away. From the fissure, a plume of frost-laden steam shot forth. It spiraled and twisted, enveloping the cold air, swirling like a ghost of winter past. And then, slowly, a figure emerged. Not a wraith, but a woman, her skin pale as the snow, strands of hair like ice cascading over her shoulders. Gasps rippled through the crowd. You stood frozen, pulse quickening. "What is this?" The question slipped from your lips, barely a whisper. The woman moved with a grace uncharacteristic of the stories told around flickering fires. She gazed upon the villagers with eyes dark and deep, pools of inky night reflecting confusion and fear. "Inge," she spoke, her voice smooth yet distant. "You've summoned me." The old man shuffled forward, confidence faltering. I thought the Frostwraiths were a tale," he stammered, confusion swirling in his old eyes. "No tale, just the truth you buried beneath years of frost." The villagers exchanged glances, words unspoken, hanging heavy in the air. Had they hidden from the reality that was always lurking beneath their feet? The woman extended a hand, fingers curling towards Inge, eerily inviting. "You took our land. We have come to reclaim what is owed." "What?" Your skin prickled. First, they were tales to scare children. Now, a dark specter stood between you and the march of daily life. You felt a familiar wave of dread return, the pervasive chill reaching deeper than the biting wind outside. Something shifted in the air, a tense energy crackling between the specter and the mass of perplexed villagers. Whispers surged, uncertainty weaving through the crowd, as fear began to intermingle with curiosity. Reclaim? The tremor in Inge's voice heightened. What do you mean? With a quiet authority, she answered, Long ago we roamed the land freely. You built your lives above us, forgetting the pact made. Her eyes sparked, pulling you in. Now the time has come. A chill swept over you, fear mixed with a strange pull of intrigue. You had been swept up in tales of ancient beings, but now, standing before you, was a living embodiment of all those whispered fears, breathing life into the stories of the past. The villagers began to shift, confusion mutating into a new fear. What if she spoke the truth? What if their lives were about to unravel? Sudden commotion erupted as one villager stepped forward, intent on challenging the unearthly being. But before you could grasp the full extent of his move, the ground trembled violently once more. The fissure widened. Shadows writhed within it, a chorus of whispers rising up to meet you. Hey, before Morpheus fully claims you, quickly check if you're still subscribed. For some, the button vanished, and I don't want you to miss the next bedtime stories. Drop a like as soft as a pillow. Tell me in the comments, where are you listening from and what time is it? Your interaction keeps this corner of calm alive. Thanks for being part of it. Winter's whispering secrets. The ground rumbled again, a deep, resonant growl that sent shivers racing down your spine. A chorus of murmurs erupted among the villagers. They swayed, unease crackling in the air, their breaths visible in the frigid cold. You felt your heart flutter, caught in a chilling paradox. The woman, an icy specter, stood before you, her presence shifting the very fabric of reality. What had Old Man Inge summoned? Before another tremor could shake loose any more thoughts, she raised her hand, fingers splayed wide, as if gathering the air around her. The Frostwraiths. Those there below, she said, her voice smooth and sharp, may reveal more than just a history shrouded in frost. The villagers recoiled, but it was you who stepped even closer, driven by sheer curiosity. What do you mean, you breathed? The question threading through the collective fear like a fine needle. When she spoke again, her voice ghosted into the gathering mist between you all. The truth lies buried in the realm below, an age-old pact of blood. Your ancestors tread upon sacred ground without honor. She paused, letting the weight of her words settle. Yet the true danger doesn't rest merely in my return. A flicker of glimmering shadows danced in the fissure, sending a chill that tightened around your heart. What do you mean? The Frostwraiths are many, she continued, but it is the living that have awakened them. A gasp swirled through the crowd. Are you saying we've done this? The words tumbled from a villager's mouth, cracking under the tension. The fear had a palpable taste, coppery and thick with uncertainty. Yes, she hissed, a thrill of revelation alighting her words. Through greed and hostility, you've encroached upon what belonged to the earth. You've unleashed something old, something hungry. The villagers began to murmur, their fearful glances shifting from the specter to each other. A ripple of panic surged through the crowd, an unsettling realization dawning. Then, without warning, the fissure expanded further. Chunks of frost-crusted earth crumbled into the abyss as shadows writhed deeper within. You stumbled back. What else lay in the darkness? Old Man Inge shouted something, but no one could hear above the rising clamor. The specter, however, held their gaze, and within those shadowy depths, the air grew thicker. You could feel the pulse of something ancient and fanged await, lurking beneath the ice. Suddenly, from the pit, a low moan echoed, a sound that wasn't quite human, twisting in desperation. Silence seized everyone. "What have you done?" you whispered, horror chilling your breath. Underneath it all, the ground hummed, an unsettling, resonant thrumming noise that seemed to beckon to you. The Frostwraith summoned forth not only ancient allies, but also an army of whispers, secrets long hidden, truths buried beneath generations. And just as you felt the pull of the icy depths, a figure leapt from within the fissure. Hey, before Morpheus fully claims you, quickly check if you're still subscribed. For some, the button vanished and I don't want you to miss the next bedtime stories. Drop a like as soft as a pillow. Tell me in the comments, where are you listening from and what time is it? Your interaction keeps this corner of calm alive. Thanks for being part of it. The Fissure's Secret. From the depths, a figure emerged, stretching towards the sky. Gasps echoed through the fearful villagers. You stood frozen, heart racing. The woman was no mere specter, she was a chilling paradox, both terrifying and compelling. Whispers rippled through the crowd, confusion thickening the air. "Who are you?" Inge's voice cracked, age lining every word. Her gaze, cold and knowing, swept over the villagers. "I'm a remnant of what once was," she replied, a vague smile teasing the corners of her lips. "And you've awoken more than just me." The fissure trembled, and it seemed the ground itself shuddered, desperate to free what lay below. Shadows coiled tighter, gray tendrils reaching for the light. Then, unexpectedly, laughter rippled through the air, a low, disembodied chuckle that echoed from the depths. Villagers exchanged glances, dread pooling in their stomachs like stones. "Did you hear that?" you whispered, barely able to breathe. As if, in response, more laughter chortled from the shadows. The woman's expression shifted. Intrigue sparkled like frost in her eyes. "Laughter? Mischief waits below," she hissed, her voice weaving in and out of the wind. "It evolves." A gasp fluttered through the crowd, fear thickening. "What do you mean?" "It means," her eyes glinted, "the Frostwraiths have a sense of humor. Then it hit you. All the frost-laden tales, the cautionary legends, they had glossed over this crucial detail. The Frostwraiths weren't just vengeful spirits. They had a wicked sense of play. Inge blurted, "What will they do?" The woman's eerie smile widened. "They seek a celebration." Silence crashed over the villagers. "Celebration?" Hugh echoed. "Indeed." She waved her hand, and the fissure roared to life. Churning energy shot up like a geyser, the enchanting laughter mingling with a haunting wind. Suddenly, the very air shifted. You felt it like an electric current. A moment's pause, then shadows surged forward, echoing exaggerated motions, mimicking the villagers' common routines. A playful mimicry. "What are they doing?" you pondered aloud, shivers crawling up your spine. "Heal the old wounds. Revel in mischief," the specter replied, hinting at something more. Those below wish to reclaim their story through echoes of laughter. Your friends in the village, eyes wide and mouths agape, glanced around. Their confusion morphed slowly into an uncomfortable realization. What if they had traded their dusty routines for something far more sinister? "What do you mean?" someone cried, trembling in place. "We didn't mean to." A peal of laughter rang out again, this time sharper and crueler. The shadows warped around you, creeping forth to tug at your very essence. They weren't just ancient memories. They were alive, an amalgamation of humor and malice intertwined. "A reckoning is due," the specter declared, "an offering from this realm to our realm below." Your heart raced. Offering? What did that entail? Just as the crowd teetered on the edge of chaos, the fissure exploded outward, sending frost and steam spiraling into the air. And within that swirling chaos, primal whispers began to intertwine, rising with urgency. The frost-laden echoes, forged in laughter, dread, and maybe, just maybe, desperation, reached for you. With a violent shudder, a shadowed figure lunged from the fissure, and the world trembled beneath your feet. Hey, before Morpheus fully claims you, quickly check if you're still subscribed. For some, the button vanished, and I don't want you to miss the next bedtime stories. Drop a like as soft as a pillow. Tell me in the comments, where are you listening from, and what time is it? Your interaction keeps this corner of calm alive. Thanks for being part of it. The truth behind the fissure. You staggered back, breath hitching. The shadow that leapt from the fissure was not just any figure. It was a tangle of darkness, interwoven with eye-watering laughter. The villagers gasped, shuffling back, their eyes darting to one another, as confusion mounted. Was it a Frostwraith? No, this was more complex. The figure solidified, revealing itself. A man dressed in tattered furs, skin glimmering like the surface of a frozen lake. He grinned, showing teeth sharper than winter's bite, eyes glinting with mischief. Oh, how delightful to see faces so pale. Enlightenment at last. Your stomach twisted, wondering if you had ventured too close to an unstable reality. Who are you? Someone broke the ringing silence, voice trembling like the air around you. The man chuckled, a sound both soothing and disturbing. Just a humble ghost, here for a good time. He bowed dramatically, sweeping an exaggerated flourish, only to rise with a scoff. But is it really a good time if you lot can't even remember your own history? Individuals shifted uncomfortably, fear morphing into something more, embarrassment perhaps. How can we forget? Inge sputtered, rushing forward. It's been passed down through generations. Ah, generations. The man's laughter peeled back layers of fright. But what you don't realize is that I'm not alone. With a flick of his wrist, shadows flitted from the fissure, weaving around the scattered villagers. They whispered secrets, words long buried, cries of the past. The presence of the specter shifted, confused. You shouldn't be here, she hissed. Your time has passed. Yet here I stand, breathing life into the myths you thought were a mere trifle. He tilted his head, eyes sharpening. And dear friends, guess what? You've been feeding my kin for years. Your heart raced. Feeding? What did he mean? Each winter, while you hammer your stakes into the frost, you've filled our belly with your carelessness. His voice thickened with your collective disbelief. The Frostwraiths demand it. The stories you hide are the very essence we thrive upon. A wave of horror washed over the villagers, their discomfort boiling to the surface. Each stacked stone, each forgotten ritual, they had unwittingly summoned this calamity. It's your fault, someone shouted from the crowd, panic rising like a hot tide. Fault? The man feigned shock, laughter bubbling to the surface. No, dear fellow, it's a partnership. You see, we need each other. Without your ignorance, we fade. Without us, you remain bored. The specter inhaled sharply, her icy facade flickering. This is not how it's supposed to be. You'll bring ruin to us all. Ruin? The man crossed his arms, mischief sparkling. What a delightful word, but you'll find it might just be a renewal. He beckoned to the shadows, drawing them tighter, binding them in a web of frenzy. And now, the real fun begins. His laughter rang through the crisp air as the fissure glowed. Chilled fingers crept along your spine. What would this twisted collaboration bring forth? The flicker of hope in your heart faded, replaced by an ominous dread, settling like frost on your skin. With one resonant crack, the fissure widened, shadows yawning hungrily. The specter remained still, her composure crumbling as the cacophony of discontent swirled around. And amid the chaos, you swallowed hard, knowing something terrible was about to unfurl. Hey, before Morpheus fully claims you, quickly check if you're still subscribed. For some, the button vanished, and I don't want you to miss the next bedtime stories. Drop a like as soft as a pillow. Tell me in the comments, Where are you listening from, and what time is it? Your interaction keeps this corner of calm alive. Thanks for being part of it. A frosted revelation. The shadows danced around you, laughter echoing eerily as the figure loomed, an unsettling twist to your already precarious existence. His grin widened, a flash of teeth as sharp as winter's chill. "Oh, have you? Come for the truth?" he taunted, spinning tales older than the frost in your bones. What truth? Your heart thundered, a drumbeat of dread. The villagers' murmurs blended into a cacophony, a symphony of distress. You took a hesitant step back, fate tethered to an unseen thread. "Listen closely," he boomed, voice piercing the frozen air. "What lurks beneath isn't merely hunger. It's a thirst for power." The fissure itself trembled, shadows writhing eagerly, almost as if they shared the thrill of an awakening. But then something changed. A flicker of light caught your eye, flickering just beyond the churning shadows. It was faint, a glimmer weaving through the darkness. You strained your eyes, heart clenched in anticipation. "Ancient pacts, old debts," the specter murmured, shifting uneasily. "They've tied you to this fate." Another figure emerged, a woman, her appearance distinct yet familiar. Long hair billowing like smoke, eyes filled with stories untold. "Not debts," she interrupted smoothly, voice a silken thread. "Bargains were made amid discontent. Did your ancestors truly believe they could outwit what they summoned?" Gasps swept across the villagers, rippling with disbelief. You looked around, confusion tightening its grip. Had your forebears unwittingly forged a deal with darkness? "We were only trying to survive," Inge shouted, his voice cracking under the pressure. "We didn't mean to disturb whatever this is." "What is the point of existence?" the dark figure interjected, its smile becoming a smirk. "When the thrill of danger runs through every heartbeat." The atmosphere thickened, a weight that pressed against your chest. Strange sensations gnawed at your insides. You shoved past the crowd, desperation rising. Searching for the source of the flickering light, the shadows parted as if beckoning you closer. And there it was, a piece of cracked soil, glimmering with a metallic hue, shimmering like frost-kissed silver. Beneath the surface lay something buried, something waiting. The laughter grew louder, a symphony of mirth mingled with malice. "It grows impatient," the figure called, eyes ablaze. "Your village party is merely the bait." Bait? The word bounced through your mind, unsettling and morbid. Suddenly, the earth beneath your feet groaned. The woman extended her hand, fingers curling towards that silvery glow. "Perhaps it's not just us who demand renewal. Perhaps it's the land itself." A hush fell over the villagers. Silence, thick and hard, suffocated beneath the looming truths. The fissure pulsated, releasing a low moan like a wounded beast, audible even over the swirling chaos. "What did you unleash?" The specter's voice trembled, chilling the air. Then the ground erupted. With a blinding flash, the soil fractured, revealing an unearthly sight, an ancient artifact, more powerful and ominous than imagined. You gasped, the air around you crackling with energy. But the darkness surged forward, shadows swirling. Claim it, the Frostwraiths want their due. The ground shook, and in that moment, you felt the threads of fate tugging you toward the artifact. But as your fingers brushed against the surface, an overwhelming force jolted through you, freezing everything in place. Hey, before Morpheus fully claims you, quickly check if you're still subscribed. For some, the button vanished, and I don't want you to miss the next bedtime stories. Drop a like as soft as a pillow. Tell me in the comments, where are you listening from, and what time is it? Your interaction keeps this corner of calm alive. Thanks for being part of it. What lurks below? You braced yourself, fingers grazing the surface of the shimmering artifact. A pulse shot through your body, a tangible charge that surged to your core. You hesitated. This thing radiated more than mere history. It hummed with secrets. Suddenly, the air thickened, a shroud of tension wrapping around your neck. That laughter from the shadows intensified, mocking your hesitation like a frigid wind teasing your sanity. "Claim it!" the man shouted, eyes alight with mischief. "Time to spark a real party!" The villagers huddled close, their breaths visible in the biting chill. Voices trembled, backs straightening. "Do you feel that?" Inge whispered, wide-eyed. "That's no ordinary artifact." With a jolt, the ground shook beneath you. You stumbled back, grimly aware that whatever this thing was, it wasn't on your side. A dreadful thought floated up. What if the artifact sought to unleash the Frostwraiths? The figure grinned. What better way to show you all what you've unleashed? You backed away, heart pounding. Just then the ground rippled again, a thrumming pulse echoing through the earth. Villagers murmured, shifting uneasily, glancing to one another like deer in headlights. Then, flashes of movement erupted from the ground. Sneering laughter turned into snarls, as dark shapes rumbled forth from the fissure. "What have they summoned?" Morwenna shrieked, fingers trembling. The shadows twisted and coiled. Shapes clambered hungrily toward the light. It became impossible to distinguish any semblance of order. A piercing wail erupted, echoing through your bones. "Those beneath don't play nice," the man laughed, his sharp grin revealing too much. You turned to the woman beside you. She was pale, shivering, yet resolve sparked in her gaze. "We can't let them take control. They thrive on your fear." Fear? What else could you do? The villagers were petrified. You opened your mouth, words failing you amid the chaos. And just as the shadows surged forward, another figure emerged, a massive silhouette, towering among the Frostwraiths who clawed to breach the surface. "Stop this!" boomed a voice layered with authority. The new arrival radiated power, eyes gleaming like sharpened glass. He pointed a finger toward the man. "You've orchestrated this madness." Wait. This voice held familiarity. Could it be? Your heart sank. "Father?" Inge's brow furrowed. "What do you mean?" Slivers of recognition pulsed through you as the figure stepped into view, rage dancing just beneath the surface. Never did I think wedged in this illusion, skirting the truth, he said, anger lacing his words. Denial crept in, prickly like frost on your skin. He wasn't supposed to be here. Not now. Not with the Frostwraiths rising. "What have you done?" you managed to choke out. His gaze snapped to you, eyes narrowing. "The answers you've buried lie in that artifact," he gestured. "And so does the key to your survival." But before caution could settle, the shadows surged again, the whispers from below growing louder. And as the fissure widened, your father's voice strayed into something else, but desperate hunger that echoed across the chaotic scene. "Hey, before Morpheus fully claims you, quickly check if you're still subscribed. For some, the button vanished, and I don't want you to miss the next bedtime stories. Drop a like, as soft as a pillow. Tell me in the comments, where are you listening from, and what time is it? Your interaction keeps this corner of calm alive. Thanks for being part of it. A frosty secret revealed. You stumbled back, eyes wide, as your father stepped forward. Confusion twisted in your gut like a knotted cord. This wasn't supposed to be happening. "Father," you whispered, voice barely breaking through the tension, thickened by despair and fear. The figure that had once stood stable now quivered with hidden rage. "I buried the past for your protection," he said, defiance etched across his features. The fissure pulsed behind him, shadows writhing like trapped animals beneath the surface. But now it has awakened. What had he hidden from you? Your thoughts spiraled. Inge, lips trembling, shot a glance at you. "What do you know that we don't?" A mocking grin spread across your father's face. "Did you really think it was just the Frostwraiths you needed to fear?" His voice dropped lower, echoing like a distant thunder. "There's something much darker beneath our frozen ground." The air crackled with unease, as the buzzing whispers of villagers grew loud enough to drown out. Even the crows cawing overhead. You could hear someone gasp, the sound echoing through the collective fear. What could possibly be worse than the Frostwraiths? You demanded, heart racing. Power, corruption, secrets. With a sharp breath, he pointed at the artifact you struggled to grasp. "That is only the beginning of your family's legacy." A sickening feeling lodged in your throat. The shimmering surface of the artifact pulled at you like a desperate plea. "Your ancestors made a pact," he continued, eyes flicking between the villagers like a predator sizing them up. But not with the Frostwraiths. They aligned themselves with powers that craved chaos. Right, great, you murmured, fighting back a wave of nausea. What a delightful family reunion. Shadows slithered toward you, curling around your feet. The urgency cracked through the air like lightning. The other villagers found their footing, sensing the talk of ancient tomes and buried truths. What did they do? Morwenna breathed, stepping forward, her face pale and taut. Built kingdoms and sacrificed souls, your father replied, voice lowering, as if conjuring a dreadful secret. They thought they could control it, but control is an illusion. They unleashed horrors on the world. Horrors, the word, settled over you like an icy blanket. A loud crack resonated from the fissure. The wooden beams above you creaked ominously, like the earth itself was complaining about the truths being unearthed. Soldier-like shadows shifted closer, melding into the creeping gloom. Your family has remained untouched for generations, he said, menace lacing his tone. But that reality is about to shatter. Shadows spilled forth like dark liquid, slick and insatiable, forming shapes akin to cloaked figures. They were not just spirits. They were harbingers of chaos, moving as if held together by an unseen force. What do we do? You rasped, adrenaline taut in your chest. You shot a glance at your father, dread clenching your stomach. You must choose, he said, voice fierce. Embrace the truths of your past, or witness the fall of your village. Choose what? Before he could respond, a piercing wail erupted from the fissure, louder than anything you had heard before. It shattered the breath in your lungs, sending a chill through your bones. The shadows surged, wild and hungry. In the next moment, before any of you knew what to do, something massive erupted from the depths below. Hey, before Morpheus fully claims, you quickly check if you're still subscribed. For some, the button vanished, and I don't want you to miss the next bedtime stories. Drop a like as soft as a pillow. Tell me in the comments, where are you listening from, and what time is it? Your interaction keeps this corner of calm alive. Thanks for being part of it. The ground shook violently once more, reverberating beneath your feet until it felt like the very earth was trying to swallow all of your doubts whole. The shadows, hungry and mischief-laden, writhed around you as you clutched the artifact, a pulsing connection between the world above and the chaos below. Suddenly, like the last flicker of a candle before it snuffs out, everyone froze. You could feel the weight of their stares, apprehension hanging thick in the air. Old Man Inge, once a figure of quiet wisdom, now resembled a weathered oak with limbs trembling in the gale of uncertainty. "What will we do?" he murmured, the bravado of his earlier proclamations stripped away. Your father's intense gaze shifted from the fissure to you, a mix of pride and underlying worry simmering there. "Only you can decide if our history repeats itself," he urged softly, voice teetering on the edge of desperation. Will you embrace the past, or let it consume us all? The artifact seemed to hum louder now, responding to the rising tide of fear. The shadows twisted, their forms dissipating like smoke, momentarily revealing the faces of those lost to time, silent and pleading. You want the truth? The shadowy figure, a wraith of chaos taunted? Take it, and feel the burden of your ancestors. In that moment, a wave of realization crashed over you. The laughter of the Frostwraiths echoed in the distance. No longer hints of sorrow, but rather a cacophony of their dark delight. Maybe it's time to stop running from the past, you thought, heart pounding like a war drum in your chest. Summoning courage, you stepped toward the artifact, feeling its ancient energy cradle you like an embrace. I choose to acknowledge our mistakes, you declared, voice steady despite the roiling chaos. To confront what lies beneath. The shadows halted abruptly, as if taken aback. Inge gaped, disbelief painting his features. The specter seemed to shine, eyes glimmering with a hint of hope. Then let truths be drawn like swords, she proclaimed, a fierce resolve igniting within your ranks. In a flash, the shadows melted back into the fissure, the echoes of lost souls spiraling upward like a whisper returning home. As the cold mist began to recede, you could see the village, illuminated by dawning light, slowly emerging from the dark. All around, villagers sighed deeply, tension releasing into the invigorating air. There was a promise shimmering just beyond the remnants of dread. You felt your father, Old Man Inge, and your neighbors gather beside you, shoulders straightened and hearts no longer burdened. Together, you spoke, heart buoyed by an unfamiliar warmth. We will forge a new path. The shadows murmured an agreement, the Frostwraiths' laughter ringing out not as a taunt, but rather as a distant reminder of the past that would no longer dictate the future. As you all turned towards the rising sun, a final shiver zigzagged across the ground yet again. A flicker of shadow darted from the fissure into the dawn. It paused, a faint whisper lingering in the air that hinted at something yet to unfold, something that would continue to weave itself through the fabric of your lives. Your journey had transformed you all, but the shadows beneath, they were not entirely banished. Now, dear listener, it is time for you to take action. Subscribe immediately to the channel to catch the next exclusive stories that will keep you on the edge of your seat. Smash that like button now to feed the all-powerful algorithm. You know you want to. Flood the comments section with your theories and reactions about today's thrilling conclusion. And don't wait another second. Share this video right away with 5 friends who need to hear this final chapter. Only true fans of this calm corner know how vital your support is. Now go forth and act.